What's up, everybody? Welcome to Christories. I'm Chris Distefano, a.k.a. Chris Distefano, and today we're going to be talking about Juneteenth, my new favorite holiday. I'm happy it's a holiday. It deserves to be a goddamn holiday. If you don't know what it's about, we're talking about the 13th Amendment. We're talking about Texas. We're talking about the Civil War, and I'm going to explain everything. I'm white-splaining. Okay, first of all, we need to talk about enslaved versus slave. Enslaved is the term that we should all be using because it really focuses on an aim to get away from the dehumanizing label of slave. Slave sounds a little bad. We don't like it. So now we say enslaved, which kind of just talks about the oppressive system, the people that were involved in it, and it's just better. And I think moving forward, let's just go enslaved. Okay? It's a bit more inclusive, and listen, it hurts. Can't get me wrong, it hurts. Slavery in every single way hurts, but enslaved just takes a little sting off. You could still say Jew though over Jewish if you'd like. I don't think there's an issue with that. But in case I mix up enslaved and slave, just understand that I know I'm supposed to be doing the right thing, but I'm Chrissy Cash, and I don't always do that. So first of all, let me set the scene, because here's the thing: I love history. It's what I like. I'm the guy who masturbates to the Napoleonic Wars, and I think about what it would be like to lay in bed with Seneca, or I've always wanted to kiss Martha Washington on the lips. So I like history, but I understand not everybody does. So people might not even know what the Civil War was. They've heard the term, but they don't know who it was between. It was between the United States, our United States in the 1860s, between the northern states and the southern states. It was from April 12th, 1861 to April 9th, 1865, and it was a bad time for our American brothers and sisters because we were all fighting each other, and that's not good. We don't fight anymore. The North wanted to progress with the current future we have today, to adopt the Industrial Revolution, get rid of the enslaved people, bring everyone in. And the South wanted to continue old school bullshit, which was enslaving black people and having them work for free while they profited. So the South lost big. As we know, the current system we have today is a direct result from us, the North, winning the war. North rules. We are the North. And the thing is, though, what a lot of people don't know is, unfortunately, the war wasn't about only human rights. It was also about money. It was about Yeezys. Also, during this time, as you're going to hear about the Emancipation Proclamation, which happened on September 22nd, 1862, by our boy, Prezi Wezzy, Abraham Lincoln. And I'm going to tell you what the Emancipation Proclamation was right now. So, as I mentioned, September 1862, the Emancipation Proclamation gets introduced. On January 1st, 1863, it gets read out loud. During the American Civil War, President Abraham Lincoln declared that all enslaved people in Confederate states, in the rebellious Confederate states, were rebelling against the Union, shall be thenceforward and forever free. So basically what he was saying is even if you are living in the South, if you're an enslaved person living in the South, you free right now. You're free, okay? Now, that didn't mean that the South was just going to let you go. They were in an active war. But if you could find out a way to get to the northern side, the northern territories, then you were free. You could be fully free. So good job, Abraham Lincoln. Here's the thing, though. They weren't really free, okay? The point of the Emancipation Proclamation was to undermine the institution of slavery, which was crucial to the Southern economy. The South said that they needed enslaved people to, pick their cotton and mow, and plow their fields and all that they needed for the economy. It was true and also bullshit. The Emancipation Proclamation targeted, the Confederate States pretty much only. It laid the foundation for the eventual abolition of slavery. It influenced the full course of the Civil War, and it symbolized the Union's commitment to ending slavery, okay? But it didn't do it just like that. Let's talk about slavery. Okay, let's talk about slavery. You've heard a lot about it. But you may not know the history of it. You may not know where it came from, why it happened. Here's the thing. The first recorded instance of enslaved Africans coming into America was in the English colony of Jamestown, Virginia in 1619. 20 enslaved Africans were brought to Jamestown by a Dutch ship. Shout out Wooden Shoes. So this is just a practice. We have enslaved people coming into the country. It's forced immigration. It's no bueno, and it's happening. So in the Constitution of the United States, what we wrote, the Founding Fathers wrote, it had provisions that recognized and protected slavery. You have to understand that. Slavery was protected by the laws. For example, slaves only counted as 3/5 of a person, not 5/5 of a person. They were 3/5 of a person, okay? And that was the only reason they even did that is so they could have representation in Congress. That's why the Electoral College, that's why there's racism attached to the Electoral College. That's why you hear all that. It's all from this, because 3/5 of a person, electoral votes were all really for slaves, so different states can have different amounts of power when it came election time. So if you don't know why people talk about that, that's why. Then you had the Fugitive Slave Act of 1793, not the Fugitive Harrison Ford's movie. I'm talking about the Fugitive Slave Act of 1793. This was a federal law where runaway slaves who escaped free states, got to free states. So let's say you're a slave in the South and you got to the North. If you got discovered, you had to be returned to your owner in the South. Not good. Bullshit. The Missouri Compromise of 1820, this is another big thing in slavery. It was a compromise that established a line at the 36 degree 30 parallel, which is right in Missouri, and it divided territories into free states and slave states. It prohibited slavery in the northern portion of the Louisiana Territory, except within the boundaries of the state of Missouri. That's why it's called Missouri, because when we got the Louisiana Territory, the Louisiana Purchase, that was a lot of states that Thomas Jefferson bought from the French, a lot of states. So some of them were slave states, some of them were free states. That's what this applies to. Then we had Dred Scott versus Sanford, 1857. Basically, Supreme Court decision said slaves are property. They're not citizens. They have no legal rights. They said the slave is your property, just like that lamp is your property, even though it's a human being. It's the same as a lamp. It's property. You have no legal rights. Fucked up. It also ruled that Congress could not prohibit slavery in these slave territories, which kind of invalidated the Missouri Compromise, but that's what happened, and it was effed up. So much like some issues we're having today, even though we are the United States of America, we're really we're really not united. We're just the states of America. Every state has different laws, wildly different ways of life, and it goes all the way back to the beginning of our country. Each state had its own laws regarding slavery. Some states, known as the slave states, legally recognized and upheld the institution of slavery and protected the rights of slave owners, where other states, the free states, the good boys, prohibited or limited the practice of slavery within their boundaries. So you think it's bad now? You think it's bad now with some states, you can have a gun, some states you can, some states you pay high taxes, some states you can't, some states you can have an abortion, some states you can't. Back then it was some states you were free, some states you were in chains. So things could always be worse. So we're getting close to why Juneteenth is important and why we're doing this video today. But first, Lincoln, in the Civil War at the end, dies. John Wilkes Booth, JWB, shoots him in the head. You know the whole thing. So when Lincoln dies, a lot of people thought the push to end slavery was going to die with him, but it didn't. Because here's the thing. The Emancipation Proclamation's legal authority was limited. It was only in the Union states. The Confederate didn't care. They didn't care about anything Abraham Lincoln said. They did not give a shit at all, just like the South really doesn't care about anything Joe Biden says. That's the way it works. So that's the issue here that we're up against with the Emancipation Proclamation is don't forget, we're in the 1800s, okay? You can't just enforce laws overnight. Most enslaved people didn't even know how to read or write, and the slave owners were not going to allow that to happen. It's not like they were going to tell them, hey, by the way, I heard on the news the other day, some guy on horseback came by and gave me a letter, said, you're free now. He's not going to say that. He's going to have you keep working. That's just, it's what it is. So there's sweatshops like Nike. We're getting really close to what June 19th is, Juneteenth. First, you have to understand what the 13th Amendment is. It was passed by Congress on January 31st, 1865, and what it said was exactly, neither slavery nor involuntary servitude, except as a punishment for crime whereof the party shall have been duly convicted, shall exist within the United States or any place subject to their jurisdiction. So, no slaves. It was fully illegal to have slaves in every state. You cannot do it. It was ratified. It was announced, passed on January 31st, 1865. It was only ratified on December 6th, 1865, which effectively did end slavery throughout the country. But there was this almost year-long gray period where enslaved people were like, am I free or not? Like, what's happening? I don't know. I'm in the gray zone. The 13th Amendment abolished slavery. The 13th Amendment did abolish slavery. But again, like I said, it's hard to enforce these laws overnight, and it took a while for it to actually get put into practice. Okay? It's like weed in New York. Technically, it's legal now, but nobody knows what the hell the rules are. So you can still open up a THC shop and have it shut down. And maybe it's not a good investment. And my asset manager warned me of that. So yes, did I just compare the modern day New York City THC market to slaves? You bet your ass I did. It's Chrissy Chaos, and we stand by it. This episode sponsored by Blue Chew. It's the best, okay? I want to talk about sex to you. I love Blue Chew. Blue Chew tablets are made in the USA. They are prepared and shipped directly to your door. Discreet packaging, but nothing's discreet about your package, right? Bang, you got a boner. It is Blue Chew wants to help you have better sex. Discover your options at BlueChew.com. Chew it and do it. That's what I say every day when I'm leaving my house. Chew it and do it, baby. And we've got a special deal right now for our listeners. Try Blue Chew free when you use our promo code Christories at checkout. All you do is pay the $5 shipping. That's BlueChew.com, promo code Christories to receive your first month free. Just pay the $5 shipping. I just sent it to my friend Vito. He said he's been using it every day to get ready for his upcoming wedding, and he just said using that promo code Christories. He says he has an erection that he hasn't been able to let go of, and he's just been thanking me all day, every day. He's been putting his Mets hat right on his erection when he leaves the house. BlueChew.com, promo code Christories. Receive the first month free. Just pay the $5 shipping. Seed. Everybody needs to shit, okay? And I don't want you to have any pooping anxiety anymore. I mean, you talk to someone like my father. This guy is on the boat for 3 hours. I mean, literally can watch multiple Ken Burns World War II documentaries because the poop sometimes won't come out. And I said, you have to try Seed. You got pooping anxiety, Pops. We gave him Seed, and my man is non-stop shitting in the best way possible. The whole family comes along, and we take a look in the bowl and see what's what because we just love Seed so much. And the Daily Symbiotic DS-01 specifically, it supports gut health, gut motility. If your poops are not consistent and they're just, not coming out the way you want them, then you need Seed's DS-01, okay? Have you ever had a smooth, soft sausage? Have you ever had a smooth, soft sausage? No? Well, then I'm telling you, your smooth, soft sausage shits, they need to look like smooth, soft sausages because if they don't, then you're not taking Seed. Start a new healthy habit today. Visit seed.com/Christories and use the code Christories to redeem 30% off your first month of Seed's DS-01 Daily Symbiotic. That's seed.com Christories. Use the code Christories. 30% off your first month of Seed's DS-01 Daily Symbiotic. Dad, it's been changing your life, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So here's what's happening. Here's why I'm taking you right now to Galveston, Texas on June 19th, 1865, and here's why. We have the Emancipation Proclamation. We have declared, President Linky Winky has declared every slave is free, but many slaves in Texas, which is a Confederate southern state, they were unaware of the freedom. Again, slave owners not going to tell them. They can't read and write. They're not letting them know, baby. So what happens is the Union Army, the good guys, pull up to Galveston, Texas, which is pretty nice. It gets wrecked by hurricanes a lot, but it's actually pretty nice by the water, on June 19th, 1865, and notice that the slave owners were not following the new laws. What the fuck is wrong with you? I told you they're free, asshole. So free them. And what the enslavers, the slave owners were doing is they were withholding the information until after the harvest season. They didn't want to work. They wanted to get one more season of free labor out of the enslaved people, and they were just being little scumbags. So Major General Gordon Granger, shout out, issued General Order Number 3, which declared that all enslaved Texas people were free, and he made sure they understood it, and that is why we're celebrating Juneteenth. June 19th, 1865 is a humongous day in American history because it was the day when the people of Galveston, Texas, and then eventually the rest of the southern states were told, and it was confirmed, that they are free and they can leave. Okay? Now, where did they go from there? We don't know, because that's the thing is, yeah, you freed them, but now what? That's another, and that's going to be another Chrissy. So I'm going to talk about, well, what were the enslaved people who are now all of a sudden free supposed to do? Because there was still a lot of racism. There were still a lot of people that wanted to hurt them. And it's not like they were just going to give them jobs. So that's another difficult part. But let's just listen. Let's just choose to take moments in history and say, look, I know not everything's going to happen overnight. Rome wasn't built in a day. Neither was your body. That's a quote from Tony Horton from P90X. Same thing with our country. They were very bad. They were very bad enslaving in the first place, but now they're free, and it's not going to happen overnight. We're going to have a reconstruction period that we will do an episode on, but this one is about Juneteenth. So Jubilee, that's what we call it. Jubilee is born June 19th, 1865, and it's what we celebrate every Juneteenth. Major General Gordon Granger, he had freed 250,000 enslaved people in Texas. That's a lot of people. 250,000 enslaved people in Texas. Celebrations broke out among the newly freed black people. The year following 1865, freedmen in Texas organized the first of what became the annual celebration of Jubilee Day on June 19th. So now it's a national holiday, but since 1865, it's been celebrated as Jubilee Day in Texas, so it's good that it's a national holiday now. It was later referred to as Juneteenth as a combination of the words June and 19th, and the day freedom rang, baby. Celebrations emerged all over as freed slaves in Texas marked the anniversary of their freedom with gatherings, church services, picnics, parades, they were just hanging out. I mean, baby, it was a great time. It was a great time. I would have loved to have been there. I would have loved to have been there. I'd like to, if you're open to it, any of my black listeners, I'd love to go to your Juneteenth celebration if you'd had me. I would love to, please invite me to your Juneteenth celebration. Like I say, I'm one of the good whites. I was a northern white. My family's a northern white. I would love to come. Let's have fun. Let's eat. We'll have a good time, okay? I'll bring leyenda, which is Dominican rum. Now, over time, of course, the observance spread to other states, and African Americans who migrated from Texas brought word of this celebration, the Jubilee, and now it is all 50 states and Ukraine, because Ukraine is slowly becoming part of the United States. They're celebrating Juneteenth. So it's amazing. It was only officially recognized. It was only actually officially put on the calendar June 17, 2021, 2 years ago. Okay, this is only our third Juneteenth. President Joe Biden is the one that signed it. He signed the Juneteenth National Independence Day Act, which was officially established June 19th as a federal holiday in the United States, making it the first new federal holiday since MLK Day was established in 1983. So that's a good thing. Now, if you ask Joe Biden why he did it, he doesn't remember. He has no idea why he did it, but we're happy he did. Joe, we're happy you did it, buddy. He said he was just eating his mashed potatoes and peas, and somebody, he just signed something. He doesn't know what he signed, but he says that Hunter Biden's a good guy and it's never had sex with a prostitute. Whatever you want to say. So, in closing, Juneteenth, we're big fans here at the Chrissy Chaos Podcast. Juneteenth carries a lot of historical and cultural significance. It reflects the struggles and contributions of African Americans all throughout history, serves as a reminder of the injustices of slavery and the ongoing struggle for equality. Shout out Venetia. I also want to shout out my man, General Gordon Granger. Love you, Gordon. I don't know if you're the Gordon from Gordon's Fish Sticks, but you are to me. Shout out Abe Lincoln, always been my boy from day one. And shout out to all the people who follow and celebrate June 19th and who continue to fight back for people's rights. Good for you, okay? I'm joining the fight. I'm one of the good whites, okay? I'm one of the good whites. That was June 19th. Go tell your friends you know about it. Go tell you who told you about it, okay? It's a big day for me here at the Chrissy Chaos Podcast, because even though I wasn't alive in 1865, I do feel like knowledge is power, and I've released myself from the shackles of not having the power, of not having the knowledge. I do have the power. I'm white. Sorry. I always want to be on the line. I always want to be Chrissy in the gray zones. You never know. Am I good? Am I bad? You don't know. But just know that I will always use my powers for good. And I do live in the gray zone, just like the enslaved people did in 1865 when they weren't sure if the 13th Amendment was ratified or not. This was Christories. Yesterday was history. Listen, as always, yesterday was history, but I need you to go subscribe to the Chris D Comedy YouTube. Hit subscribe, hit like on these videos, share them, okay? It literally is so important. If you like this video, share it with your friends and family. It helps the channel grow so much. by helping me, I help you. It's all a beautiful thing. We're helping each other. It's like we're giving each other, we're giving each other hand jobs on the internet. And it's nice and it's safe and it's free. Like and subscribe to the Christy Comedy YouTube. Tell your friends about Christories. We're really trying to grow this. So I'm hoping you're enjoying it. So let us know. Always comment on, leave comments. Let us know what other Christories you want to see. If you want to see me live on the road, go to chrisdcomedy.com. I have all my stand-up dates up there. We have Radio City in New York on September 22nd, sold out. So we added September 23rd, the theater at Madison Square Garden. There's still some tickets left for that. And we're going to put a big fall tour on sale in a couple of weeks here. So keep checking chrisdcomedy.com to see if your city is there. And go to patreon.com/ChristyComedy, where I have hours of footage and podcasts that only exist there. That's where a lot of the fun happens, and you can have an opportunity to ask me a question. And then call our hotline. We're going to put our number right here for you can call our hotline, and you can leave a voicemail, and we will answer it on the Chrissy Chaos Show, whether it be on the Patreon or the YouTube. It's there for you, baby. So I appreciate all the support. Appreciate you liking and subscribing. I love you, and if I see you in the street, I'll kiss you on the lips.